your girl Olivia Gold, and welcome to another episode on the Olivia Gold channel. I'm the founder of Life of a Marketing Girl, a marketing expert with over 10 years experience in the industry. I'm a fashion and beauty creator, so you get a mix of brains and beauty on this channel because I want to talk about what the real future of marketing is. And I know that sounds a bit, ooh, what's that about? A thought that I have, and it was validated by someone that I respect so much in the industry, Seth Godin, and he is a marketing expert with decades of experience. And something that he said that I loved, which I wanted to share with you guys, is that people today think that marketing is hype, and they think it's about, you know, creating the most noise, and it's things about knocking people out the way to be like, no, I'm the better product, no, this is the better service. It is not. That is not marketing. If you hear that, oh my god, let's create hype, that is, oh my gosh, like I just want to put is. And today a word that is just gonna go viral in 2025, you heard it first, is culture. And I'm like, culture is so deep and it can't be messed with, and it can't just be another marketing term. It's a way of life, you know? Well, success in marketing is storytelling and being able to tell a story that resonates with its true, authentic audience. If you're able to do that, you will always be successful, because why? You will always find a community to speak to. You have to think the other end of this lens that I'm speaking to real people with real lives, real feelings, real experiences. And sometimes when you're in the marketing room, people forget that and they treat consumers like numbers, and they are not. Yes, numbers help us quantify or validate certain ideologies or objectives, but how you tell the story needs to be cemented with so much more truth and so much more realness to be able to implement the impact of what the product is or what the service is. Specifically with social media, because there's so many platforms for us to use to talk to the customer or talk to community or sub-community that you're trying to relate a message to. Humans are smarter than ever before. They can see the cracks, they can see the fake, they can see that something is not real and you just want to make money, and they will not give you their money. And that goes for all demographics. People understand the power in their pound or in their dollar or whatever currency you have. Particularly in an economy that's changed since COVID, where people have had to rebuild, people have had to start again, it has a domino effect. So marketing has to change when you see the economy change. How people consume content or consumerism is different. And whilst yes, we are evolving and people are looking for convenience, people are also looking for purpose, they're looking for health, they're looking for true care and consideration before they give you their money. You want to make a marketing campaign out of hype, that's not going to stand the test of time, because something will always be hype, and we see this all the time. The music industry has a great example of this, because we have seen it today. The biggest battle that went down, Kendrick Lamar and Drake. If you wasn't aware, then you are not aware of what happens in culture, in hip-hop culture and black culture. That was one of the biggest rap battles that's happened over the last decade. Like, that is a huge example of what happens when hype dies and realness stands the test of time. I don't have a side, so please don't come at me in the comments, okay? But Drake and Kendrick had a rap battle, and we've seen the success of Drake. He's originally from Canada and took over the US with his raps and his melodies as well, and he has risen to the top, and he is backed by the biggest giants in the music industry. On the other hand, we had Kendrick Lamar, who's from the West Coast and is a deep LA rapper. His metaphors has driven him to full success. But in this battle, I want to use this as an example to talk about when truth and substance overpasses hype. We've seen Drake have so many hits, been able to immerse himself in other cultures. You know, he's tapped into the UK and collaborated with hip-hop artists such as Skepta, so many other people that I can't name, but worked with Caribbean artists, he's worked with popcorn, tapping into Jamaican culture, bashment culture, and has made hits. And he's tapped into so many elements. His last album, he did like a dance EDM album. He has had the luxury to tap into many subcultures and make his music translate, and he's been very successful at it. But there's been a lot of commentary over the years that he always delves in audiences that he's been a fan of and just basically jumps in and becomes part of the hype, and it's worked. And maybe that's because he's backed by such a huge machine. But with Kendrick Lamar, in this rap battle, for me, really validated why truth and authenticity is important. What he did is he took time to respond to Drake in their second or third response to each other. Like they had a back and forth, but this one shut it down. Not Like Us is a cultural anthem, and it's an anthem because there's truth, there's history in it, alignment that really resonates with its audience. And for me, that's when hype will not work. It doesn't stand the test of time. Drake is super successful and this doesn't take anything from him, but when you're faced with it, you have to seek truth. Me, Kendrick Lamar had a whole anthem that spoke to Drake and just basically told him that he's a coon, he's not original, he uses rappers as a way to make himself sound cool, sound hardcore, and sound like he's about the culture when he's not. And he references so many real experience that Drake has had. Some that was a bit, ooh, that's a bit touchy-feely now. That's the stuff that would make someone bring out their fist. But it's a rap battle, so anything goes. If you know the hip-hop culture and are aware of the hip-hop culture, you know how imperative that is. It's no holds bars. So, and that's exactly what Kendrick did, but he did it with a level of truth and substance that was piercing. And to use that example to basically resonate with marketers as professional, how we need to bring truth to the table too. And sometimes there may not be data to validate that. There may be some, but not always. But that's where the power in your expertise come in, and where you have to show up as an individual. Focusing on truth, focusing on real experiences, real human insight to validate objectives that you have, campaigns that you have, influences that you want to work with, needs to be backed by truth, and truth that resonates with your product, solution that you're trying to solve. And that will really help you pass the time and not just be hype. Is moving so fast and everyone is used to short form content. Gone are the days where you would see an ad and that would be the biggest brand in the world. Whilst that still has a huge role because it reaches the masses, it's different now because people are always on the go, people are on their phone. So that's why the dollars are actually being invested in digital platforms versus traditional platforms. TV ads are changing to digital ads, out of home ads are transforming to on demand, because no one's just walking down the street anymore and just wants to see the billboard ad. You're on your phone. You'd rather meet the consumer when they're on their phone versus when they're walking past a specific billboard that's on their daily routine. This has a bigger impact. And when you think about that digital content, speak to the consumer, you can allow them to engage and comment and actually give you feedback. So when we think about the return of investment, it's much more worth it than traditional forms. Traditional forms will always play a role, but it's going to change, and we need to make sure that we are aware of those changes so we can show up in the best way. So I really wanted to talk about why it's really focused on storytelling and not just demand and hype. Consumers, we're fickle. Like one thing the next day, the next thing we don't. By seeking truth and telling stories that resonate with the consumers stand the test of time, because once that product or service reminds them of a certain experience or memory, you will always be the brand that comes to mind. Like some of the best brands in the world, they have a brand, but they also have an ethos that lives consistently and it doesn't die, because it lives with the consumer as well. As they evolve, those memories evolve, and also that ethos evolves. So when they're thinking about running, they're always going to think of Nike, because they're always trying to get people to perform their best. And when you think about their slogans, that's why it's so important as a brand to make sure that you have a brand mission that resonates with consumers. So when they think about, oh my God, I want new running trainers, they think of you. So, and whilst new brands will come into market, it's making sure that you're evolving with the times so you get to stay competitive but also resonate with the consumer. In 2025, we're going to see a lot of brands die because the hype didn't last. From 2020 to 2023, there was so much hype, and we know it was because of COVID. A lot of people were at home and their entertainment was their phone and the internet, and we were all there at the same time. So much was happening to get our attention. But now COVID is no longer and everyone's out in the world and going back to normal. That's changing. The brand that they thought that was so hyped dies, stands the test of time. The brand that was able to pierce through the noise and connect with the customer in a way that other brands can't, beyond hype. And it's that storytelling that speaks truth and resonate with the consumer, and it shows that you care, so they are willing to spend their pound on you. This is why it's always important for us to really understand what are the growing categories and the growing areas in consumers' life. And you can't think about marketing without looking at what's going on in the economy or psychology of people, because those are the two things that really play a big role and impact in marketing campaigns that we see today, because of, you know, the spending power is getting more expensive, so people are being way more tighter and stricter with where they want to spend their money. Consumers actually are willing to invest a bit more, even if it's their last £100. Yes, value does matter, but value matters depending on how the consumer sees value. That's important. Value just isn't about cheap. No, that doesn't mean that anymore. Value is about what matters most to the customer at that point in time in their life. You're able to crack that as a brand and as a marketer. You will create a campaign that will stand the test of time. You will grow a brand that is iconic, and you will actually be a visionary brand in your category, a leader at the forefront of the category. That one of the categories that I know is evolving is the well-being category, and we're going to see companies and brands across fashion, music, tech and sports tap into it. The reason why well-being is so important to the majority of consumers today, they know that spending more is worth it because of the ROI they're gonna get, not in money, but in health, in long life. Like, that's a currency that you can't put a price on. It's priceless. You have to think about these things as marketers when you're thinking about a campaign. Have a well-being factor? Do I have a sustainability factor? And do I also have an inclusive factor? These are three critical areas that will help you trailblaze and evolve in your career and be behind the biggest campaigns, because you're thinking about the things that are going to stand the test of time and using data to help you underpin them at all times. Even if it's a small data point, but that could be a new consumer demographic, that can be a new category of audience that you can tap into, which can drive incremental growth for your brand, your business, the company that you work for, and attain sales that you've never been able to attain. The thing that I've been able to do this year was actually bring to the UK and immersing them in micro cultures has been critical to driving incremental growth. And this is why micro communities are so important, because that domino effect over time, that can really attain a huge revenue in your business, because you're focusing on speaking to people in different groups. Always forget the tell a friend strategy. And as much as I've been in marketing, that still stands the test of time. When I'm doing my makeup and I'm finding lovely things to buy, what do? I ask a friend, girl, where did you get that lip gloss from? And then they tell you, they recommend it. I go buy it. This is why when you do know your audience, it's important that you connect with them, you actually engage with them, and you make sure you build a community group that they can also engage and comment to as well. So you're hearing their feedback, because once you get their buy-in, just know that their community in their home or their environment will also get buy-in. Tell a friend strategy will always be there. I wanted to do a quick video and talk about this, because this is something that I had a conversation on this weekend. I was like, oh my God, I need to tell you guys, because we need to find a way as marketers to make sure that we are not sitting on hype. Hype is not gonna take us to the long haul. It is not. You can have short bursts of momentum, a short burst of excitement, but that's not going to make you a trailblazer. It's about storytelling and perfecting your storytelling, and that is by human connection, human understanding, which could be identified by two things: the psychology of people and the transformation of how people attain information, what they care about and how they live, but also the economy as well, understanding the pattern of the audience and the area that you're talking to or trying to target, and doing research to find out what's going on there, so that you can take all that information back, strategize, and find out what is the key data point, what is the key problem, and how can you solve that in a way that tells a story that resonates with them. So guys, we're not about hustle, we're not about hype, but we're all about authentic storytelling. Thank you guys for watching this week's video, because I wanted to talk about something that was on my mind, and I think I'm just going to do that. It's just going to be Life of a Marketing Girl notes that I have for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.